You're watching the show that puts Mid-Michigan news in focus. This is Focal Point.
Coming up on Focal Point, find out how students are coping with depression.
Coming up next on Focal Point, 2 more pizza places join Grand River. I talked to local business owners and students to get the dish.
They voted to become a sanctuary city, but now the Lansing City Council is having second thoughts. Focal Point starts now.
Good evening, welcome to Focal Point. I'm Kelly Cullen.
And I'm Chloe Keipel. A controversial turn for the Lansing City Council. After voting to be a sanctuary city earlier in the month, the council changed their mind after calling a special meeting. In a 5-2 vote, the City Council reverted back to their original status of a welcoming city instead of a sanctuary city. The change is due to concerns about federal funding. The Trump administration has warned that sanctuary cities could lose money for not complying with immigration authorities. Before the vote in the special meeting on April 11th, concerned residents voiced their opinions.
They're talking about just changing the wording, is my understanding, from sanctuary city to welcoming city. Basically means the same thing.
They're now deciding to reconsider this when they already voted on it, and people have been coming to these meetings for months. And they've heard opinions from hundreds of Lansing residents, but all of a sudden a group of Trump supporters from Grand Rapids show up in Lansing, and all of a sudden they want to reconsider it. So that's what's frustrating about it to me.
Before the vote, Lansing was Michigan's first sanctuary city. Michigan continues to crack down on prescription drug abuse with a new monitoring system that tracks controlled substances. Focal Point's Sierra Searcy shows us how the new program works.
Sure, do you have the prescription numbers?
About 18,000 people
It really needs to be dealt with.
die every year because of prescription drug overdose.
He was on too much stuff, and when they went in and they took away a bunch of his drugs.
But a new method of tracking patients' prescriptions may help curb abuse with MAPS, the Michigan Automatic Prescription Service.
MAPS is the collection of controlled medications that patients get.
The state collects the information to make sure patients
They're
aren't
taking too much medication, getting duplicate medications, seeing more than one doctor and having them not know about each other.
Drugs that are painkillers like morphine and oxycodone are usually what pharmacists and doctors look for when using the MAP system.
Sometimes as a pharmacist, my job unfortunately ends up being, drug police.
Polly Cole says when she's aware a patient is showing signs of drug abuse,
Be the tattletale that has to call the doctors and let them know that the patient's not being straightforward and is getting too much medication.
the MAPS collection system has been around for 10 years, but the new system is much faster.
Then you just hit search and it literally takes like 30 seconds.
Pharmacists, doctors, dentists, and law enforcement can do extensive searches too.
Search just for certain medications, certain doctors, certain pharmacies.
Cove says in her 25 years as a pharmacist, prescription drug abuse has always been a problem.
I think it's increased a lot in the last 5 or 10 years.
The government has made stricter rules on prescription refills and quantity limits, but
It can be abused.
this new system expects a 15% decrease in abuse by the end of the year. In East Lansing, Sierra Searcy, Focal Point News.
The new MAP system goes online statewide by the end of the month.
MSU counselors say they are seeing more cases of depression than ever before. Students struggling to juggle school, social lives, and mental health. Focal Point's Deanna Sanders talks to students who are trying to cope and looking for hope.
Every day, students deal with ups and downs, but some students have more bad days than good.
Every day I got up and the first thought was suicide, and I didn't understand why.
Murphy Nye is a sophomore studying business management.
Honestly, my mental health kind of thing gets in the way a lot more than I would like it to, but you gotta just make the most of what goes on and, hope for the best.
Nye has been dealing with depression for 5 years now.
My body hasn't been using a B9 vitamin that's crucial for neurotransmitter development. Logically, I know how I should feel from certain interactions, but the emotional empathy part just doesn't kick in.
Olin Health Center psychiatrist Bahar Abbasi says that there are tests that must be taken before being diagnosed with depression.
We want to know what's the severity of your depression. Is it single episode? Is it recurrent episode? Does it have a seasonal component? Is it coexisting with anxiety?
Former MSU student Pauline Bateman still struggles with depression.
I always thought depression was just, sadness, like it's just sadness, but it can manifest in anger or irritability or just like fatigue.
Bateman wants students to know there is hope.
Whether it be family or friends, like there are anonymous forums that you can go to just talk to someone and get these feelings out, because internalizing them and experiencing this life on your own when you're feeling this, it's hard.
In the meantime, Murphy also sees hope.
Now, I've been miserable probably for 5 years of my life and had one good month, and that 1 month's enough for me to see, okay, this isn't permanent.
In East Lansing, I'm Deanna Sanders, Focal Point News.
Students struggling with depression can visit MSU Safe Place, a free and confidential program that addresses relationship violence and stalking. Instead of hanging things to dry, the Clothesline event captured powerful words and untold stories from survivors of domestic violence. Take Back the Night helps to support and empower survivors and end sexual violence in all forms. The event featured a clothesline with t-shirts made by victims of sexual or domestic violence. Organizers say it's important to keep supporting the victims.
To me, Take Back the Night is a way for survivors of any kind of violence, gendered violence, so domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, to reclaim a time of day that is oftentimes, thought of as scary and dangerous.
I don't know, it's just something close to heart, obviously, on campus.
Lauren, this is Lauren. Oh, you have a fabulous name.
We're engaging with it all the time, have close friends who have experienced it, so it's just something new to hear.
Take Back the Night is an annual event to shed light on a day that is often hard for victims of violence.
Networking in college is important to help find jobs. In an effort to increase the amount of women in the business world, the Broad Business College hosted the Advancing Women in Business Conference. The event not only allowed women to connect and network, but gain insight from other alumni in the business community. MSU alumna Linda Hubbard, who is now COO of Carhartt, encouraged women to seek out important roles in business.
Ago in accounting, there were very few women in the accounting classes. I think, my understanding is it's close to 50% male-female now, and so there's more people interested in business careers, and I think that's a great thing.
Linda Hubbard graduated in 1982 with a degree in accounting.
It wouldn't be Easter without a traditional Easter egg hunt, and one in Holt did not disappoint, for most. Focal Point's Amber Howard has that story.
Oh, now these are very special eggs. I put some special candy in them.
Special eggs for a memorable experience.
It's called the Holt Kiwanis Easter egg hunt.
55 years ago, this annual celebration initially started by dyeing hard-boiled eggs, but for Kiwanis Club member John Hayhoe,
my wife and I started a few years ago putting the candy in the eggs while we're watching television.
While each egg is perfectly placed,
we have 7,000 eggs that we're passing out today.
John makes sure that it's enjoyable for all.
Again, we'll start here in about 20 minutes with the 1 and 2-year-olds.
And when the clock strikes 1, hundreds of kids flee for their holiday treats.
Good job!
Easter brings me joy.
The goal is to catch as many Easter eggs as possible, but for Anna Mae, that goal wasn't quite met.
There's a very sad story that I have to tell.
Unlike the other kids fetching for their Easter eggs, Anna Mae missed out.
I was helping out with my mom searching for Elijah so he could find more eggs.
Elijah is her brother.
It's very disappointing for me because I didn't get any eggs.
But for Anna Mae, she's learning that helping others can be a good thing.
But now we're being blessed with people helping us and get our eggs back.
And just like that,
I'm glad that people get to enjoy Easter.
Because that's what we all want on this special Easter weekend. In Holt, Michigan, Amber Howard, Focal Point News.
The Holt Kiwanis Club looks forward to hosting this event each year.
After the break, East Lansing pizza restaurants face major competition.
And it appears spring has arrived. The melting snow floods campus, which is good enough excuse for this fearless athlete to take her skis out. A video that went viral. Watch it with us after the break.
What makes a Spartan Spartan? the relentless drive to turn question marks into exclamation points. Believing that we are strong as one, but extraordinary together. And it's our impact that matters most. What makes us Spartan is what's inside, the commitment to something bigger. Because the world never stops asking, who will? Spartans will.
There are moments of triumph, of discovery, and achievement. But what makes these moments possible? It's the early mornings, the late nights. It's having the will to persevere. So let's take a moment to celebrate. But more importantly, let's salute the will it takes to get there. Spartans will.
Green, greener than the hill, where flowers grow and the sun shines still. Now I'm darker than the deepest sea. Just hand me down, give me a place to.
Two new pizza places have set up shop on Grand River, only a couple blocks from each other, and not far from a slew of other places to enjoy a slice. How will they compete in this already crowded market? I took a trip down to find out.
Pizza.
Gotta spin it right.
Meat fire.
When it's brown on the outside, that's when you know it's done.
The new Blaze Pizza on Grand River can cook your pie in 180 seconds.
Barbecue chicken for Steven.
In their specially designed oven.
Quick, it's fast.
A convenience for busy college students.
I got done with class and I'm hungry.
Using a technique.
There's really nothing else like it. I mean, there's lots of.
That isn't unique to Grand River. Lots of Pizza and Blaze opened within a month of each other and a few blocks. Both offer buyer-scorched pizzas.
We pride ourselves on having a pizza made from dough to done in under 5 minutes.
There's over 10 pizza places on Grand River, and they all want a slice of the action.
And two locally owned shops have stood the test of time. Giorgio's
we've been around for 22 years.
And Bell's.
The business been here since 1967.
Their secret,
keep it fresh, you know.
Customers love the idea that this is a family place.
Places like Bell's and Giorgio's don't feel too intimidated by their new competition.
The more restaurant in the area, the better. Will create more traffic to us.
They're gonna compete between the two of them.
I have my own customer. I'm sure they're gonna have their customers.
We have our loyal customers, and I don't really worry.
And the strongest one will stay.
With so many pizza places on Grand River, they're all competing for a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and a new Duke University study says pizza increases productivity in the workplace.
Pizza is definitely a good motivator for me to get some work done.
And there's so many options on Grand River to do that.
ASM Issue votes to raise your taxes.
And a viral video on the Red Cedar River creates a little levity in an otherwise serious situation. Sierra Cersei joins us now with these stories and more in our on-campus report. Sierra?
Thanks. Closed roads and walkways on campus after last week's flooding gave landscaping coordinator Matt Bailey a chance to test his flood plan and for the water ski team to test the waters on the banks of the Red Cedar. Focal Point's Julie Dunmeyer has the story.
Like a goal.
A check.
It was like our bucket list.
In a box.
It was just nuts. Like it was literally Lake Cedar.
On the banks of the Red Cedar.
It was so flooded that the water came literally up to there.
While most toddlers were toddling, Sarah Condra was prepping.
It was always kind of a joke.
For this moment.
You know, like, yeah, let's ski the Red Cedar, but wow.
Matt Bailey is making the most
having a good time
of waist-deep work.
Oh, this is what we're dealing with.
For Bailey, a Michigan State University landscaping coordinator, work starts
before the sun.
We have crews that get here in the morning at 3 a.m. First thing that we do is to make campus safe. That's our biggest priority when we get here in the morning.
Bailey and his team are on cleanup duty after last week's heavy rains.
It's just a little muddy right now, but at the height of the flooding, this entire staircase was covered in water.
And the river can only handle so much.
When the Red Cedar overflows, its occupants become the ball team's unwelcome fans.
I'll guarantee you there's fish in there.
Training levels means less early mornings for Matt.
This is the worst I've ever seen, you know.
The worst for a landscaper. A lucky day for a water skier.
I literally never thought that I would do that.
Something that only happens when a 7-foot flood threshold meets a bucket list. In East Lansing, Julie Dunmeyer, Focal Point News.
A reminder, you can't ride a moped on the sidewalks at Michigan State or go on closed roads and walkways. The flood might be over, but Matt Bailey says IPF is always ready for the return of Lake Cedar. A fundraiser to help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault drew a large crowd this past week. Their annual Race for the Place event raises funds for MSU's Safe Place, helping students with sexual and domestic violence. More than 650 people walked, ran, jogged, and crawled across the finish line. MSU's Safe Place is the only on-campus organization dedicated to helping women who are survivors of sexual and domestic violence. They offer free and confidential services such as housing and group therapy.
I think that a lot of people don't know how to find help or where to go for it, and I think this is a really good way to just tell people, you know, when you need help, go and ask for it.
Michigan State Safe Place hopes to raise at least $25,000 to further awareness on domestic and sexual violence. ASM Issue elections were this week. The organization got a new logo, and next semester they'll get more money from students too. ASM Issue proposed to increase the tax by about 10%, bringing in about $200,000 additionally each semester. The tax is going up from $18 a semester to $20 a semester. The additional money will be in a restricted fund to provide Safe Ride services for students. Safe Ride picks up students and gets them home when they might not be able to do so on their own.
Frankly, for the operation of Safe Ride, there's no way that we could operate under our current budget structure to fund a 7-day-a-week Safe Ride program.
The tax increase will be part of a restricted fund. That means the money will only go towards Safe Ride. A healthier campus is the goal for a group of students focusing on the students' well-being. Focal Point Cynthia Lee has the story about how this organization is trying to make a difference.
Any regular campus event.
That's good. The smoothies are here today just to have a healthy snack.
ROSS, which stands for Raising Awareness with Students, is helping students create a healthier tomorrow. Asia Shell is helping to spread their message.
We're actually growing up into adulthood and we're not young anymore, so we're just bringing information about things that affect the community.
MSU ROSS worked with Student Organization Advantage to create an interactive program educating students on how to make the better choice. And that choice is the healthier choice.
We decided to do a show because it's like a fun event, something that people can actually see without being bored. Like we usually do presentations, and with the Advantage show they do plays, not plays, but they act out certain situations that we'll see in everyday life.
And then on top of that, my mom got type 1 diabetes, bro.
Fun activities expose students to serious issues like diabetes and other health issues that hit home with some audience members.
I was definitely able to relate to the diabetes part when they were talking about their family members having diabetes. I have had family members who do have that. I've had family members who have died from that.
Students left with knowledge, but seem to have a good time learning.
It's like when you come to a healthy lifestyle, you got to practice those good habits as well.
So I do recognize the importance of working out and not waiting so late to try to get your body in order.
It starts today, so I feel like, you just got to be motivated to do it each day and out.
In East Lansing, I'm Cynthia Lee, Focal Point News.
ROSS is currently looking for research coordinators and others to get involved. Those loud noises you heard earlier this week weren't the real deal. This past week, Michigan Severe Weather Awareness Week and the MSU Police Department held a statewide tornado siren drill. As the summer months begin to approach, the likelihood for tornadoes goes up. Police encourage people to seek shelter and take cover in a place like a basement or interior hallway away from windows and doors. Knowing where to go on campus in case of a tornado is essential to student safety. Keeping an eye out for dark green skies or large low clouds can be key indicators of a tornado. College students mentoring middle school students is all in an effort to help young inner city kids understand how they can shape their future. Focal Point Cynthia Lee shows us how these MSU mentors are teaching the next generation.
The best programs of all time, hands down.
This program is more than just a way to spend a Saturday at MSU. It is
Growth. Needed. Family.
They call it My Brothers and Sisters Keeper, an organization that partners with Paul Robeson Malcolm X Academy in Detroit. They bus middle school students to campus every other Saturday.
We just try to get them acclimated to college and show them there are people here looking like them who can succeed and who are succeeding.
Teaching them about their future and brushing up on their literacy skills for students like Lauren.
Going to college is a great thing. You further your education to be more successful in life.
And mentors like Shaylin Adams get something in return too.
I love for these kids.
Financial issues have made it difficult for the organization. Funding has been scarce since the Residential College of Arts and Humanities stopped sponsoring since becoming a registered student organization.
We've been just having a lot of issues with getting money and finding really just financial issues to continue the program.
As president, Camille Thomas has figured out ways to cut costs and continue the program.
Black Student Alliance, BSA, they gave us a lot of money, so that really helped. We decided to order pizza instead. It's significantly cheaper to just get 8 to 10 pizzas and then split it with some drinks rather than going into the cafeteria.
The mentors say the hard work is worth it.
Is when they come back and they tell you, oh, I remember the time when you told me this, and this is how it's really affected me. And the fact that they not only remember it means that to them it was some kind of lesson.
Like, they helped me a lot with what I need to know and my insecurities.
In East Lansing, I'm Cynthia Lee, Focal Point News.
The program is now wrapped up for this school year and will begin again next fall. And that's what's happening on campus. I'm Sierra Cersei. Kelly, back to you in the studio.
The Meridian Township Fire Department is honoring one of their own. Focal Point's Caitlin Petrillo introduces us to the new Firefighter of the Year.
Not only is there proficiency and expertise, but there's a kindness and professionalism in the way that they handle their business.
He's a guy that you know is going to make a good call when you're on a run together.
After nearly 16 years of service,
Not only met our expectations, but exceeded them.
Lieutenant Ryan Campbell was awarded Firefighter of the Year.
It's pretty honorable, you know, I got picked by my peers.
He really leads by example.
Chosen by the American Legion in Hazlet.
We came to the determination that he would be the best nominee.
According to his peers, Lieutenant Campbell has gone above and beyond.
Lieutenant Campbell developed and built a training structure.
I built it because I feel it's my responsibility as a lieutenant to train our firefighters, to have them be prepared if something were to go bad in a fire.
But this was something that Lieutenant Campbell took upon himself.
I think our average call volume right now is probably about 12 to 13 calls a day.
Now, every time a fire call comes in, each firefighter must get dressed in this uniform. It could weigh up to 100 pounds even. Working 24-hour shifts.
It's worth the reward.
In Lansing, Michigan.
Anytime you need something, he's there for you.
Caitlin Petrillo, Focal Point News.
This year, Battalion Chief Mark Roman says it was pretty clear who was going to win.
Coming up next in sports, we have breaking news from the MSU football team and the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office. Amber Howard joins us now from the sports desk with more on these stories.
Thanks, guys. An arrest warrant is out for an MSU football player involved in sexual assault investigations. We'll have details after the break.
When do we give up? When do we just close our eyes and say, that's it? This water's too polluted. This disease too far along. To a Spartan, the answer is simple. Never. Because Michigan State was founded on the belief that our purpose is to make the world a better place. And when you're open to unconventional thinking, value people's differences, and are willing to forge true partnerships, then and only then can you solve the world's toughest problems. Like renewable energy, clean water, and Parkinson's disease. Because we know our true triumph lies in the impact we make on the world around us. And after all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will. Ever wonder where courage comes from? Where one finds the strength to believe in solutions that seem impossible? It takes a Spartan's will to understand that by working together we can solve the world's biggest problems, from renewable energy to fighting malaria. After all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will.
To Focal Point, I'm Amber Howard. Ingham County prosecutor announced this morning Michigan State football player Austin Robertson has been charged with third-degree criminal sexual conduct. The charges stem from an incident on April 9th. Robertson was previously arrested on battery charges in high school. He finished probation that incident last month. 3 other MSU players still await word from the county prosecutor on sexual assault charges from a separate incident on January 16th. It's been a long and difficult year for MSU fans as the football program continues to handle multiple suspensions and more victims step forward against former MSU doctor Larry Nassar. Spartan Nation needed something to cheer for, and last week it was given to them. Matt Micah has the story.
In East Lansing, Spartan Nation lives and dies for the Spartans. Bleeding green is a way of life.
I can't believe how many people showed up.
MSU fans feel the joy or pain that comes with being a Spartan.
Have some fun with all of you, and that's why you're all here, because you've been a big part of it.
And during one of the most difficult times.
But this isn't about Miles, and that's what he said. It's about his teammates, and it's about this university, and it's about all of you.
One superstar.
I got some unfinished business here.
Lifted the spirits of the Spartan faithful. Freshman phenom Miles Bridges decided to forego the NBA draft and come back for another year.
We love you, Miles!
Or maybe more.
3 more years!
For one goal.
I want to win a national championship.
Championship all the way. Thinking 1, 2, 3 national titles? Is that?
I got one in.
Okay. Boosting morale of the student body.
So I can't wait for next year and to spend it with y'all.
I really thought he was going to go.
I love college. I mean, I love Spartan Nation. I always say we got the best fans in the nation, so I'd rather be here with them.
Just ecstatic. I can't believe it. So happy to stay in.
Because at Michigan State, Bridges likes his Spartan family.
It's a brotherhood here. It's a family. I love everybody behind me.
It was great to see Miles and Izzo's connection and get to see that in firsthand. I thought that was really special.
There's something special about this team. And
a bond.
I'm just saying, I want to stay.
Between player and coach and fans is stronger than ever. From East Lansing, I'm Matt Micah, Focal Point News.
Bridges was named Big Ten Freshman of the Year and was a second-team All-Big Ten selection. With Bridges staying, national title expectations have soared as MSU would try to get head coach Tom Izzo to his 8th Final Four. But Bridges says they won't be satisfied unless they bring home the school's 3rd national title. Players, coach, approachable, and NHL experience were all the qualities that the MSU hockey program looked for before welcoming Spartan hockey alumnus Denton Cole as head coach earlier this month. Mark Hollis spent 21 days searching for the best coach possible, and he's hoping his choice will return the Spartans to national prominence. Cole is not only a Spartan alum, but he has a history of hockey success at MSU, helping the team win the 1986 national title as a freshman. Cole was coached with the USA's hockey's national team development program since 2013 and looks forward to being back with his family Spartan. with his Spartan family.
Really, truly looking forward to moving ahead with these guys that are standing over there, everyone on campus, and getting Spartan hockey moving ahead. I can't say enough and can't thank enough people. So appreciate it, and let's get to work.
Cole is hoping to have his coaching staff finalized in the next few weeks. Earlier we mentioned all the major flooding on campus and all the water forced baseball and softball to shift their game schedule the past couple of weeks. The baseball, softball, and soccer complexes on Old College Field were underwater, and as the Red Cedar rose over 8 feet. The National Weather Service says flood stage is at 7 feet. Both the infield and outfield at Sakia's softball stadium needed to be replaced due to the damage. The softball team needed to relocate games to Eastern Michigan's varsity field, Ann Arbor, and Davenport University. Baseball moved a 3-game series against Fresno State to Fifth Third Ballpark, home of the West Michigan Whitecaps. The team returned to their home ballpark at Colb's Field, taking a weekend series over the Ohio State Buckeyes 2-1. MSU's baseball took the road this week, traveling to Ann Arbor to square off the 15th ranked Michigan Wolverines. MSU fell to the Wolverines 12-4 despite taking a 4-3 advantage in the top of the 5th, but Michigan State was unable to hold on. Senior second baseman Dan Durkin went 1 for 3 on the day with a 2-run double in the 5th that gave the Spartans the lead. However, Wolverines were able to notch 17 hits while Michigan State finished with only 4. After the loss, MSU is now 20-13 on the season and will resume Big Ten action heading to College Park for their first ever. Michigan State will take on league preseason favorite Maryland in a 3-game series. First pitch is tonight at 6:30. After a 17-day absence, Michigan State softball returned to Sakia Stadium Wednesday and hosted the Toledo Rockets. MSU defeated Toledo 13-7 and improved to 22-17 overall on the year. Standout sophomore Ebony Eccles went 2 for 4 and scored twice, while Caitlin Evelyn had a monster day, going 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs. Shortstop Mackenzie Long had tremendous game as well, notching 3 hits, scoring 3 times, and battled in 3. The Spartans are back in action this weekend as they host Ohio State in a 3-game series. It begins today at Sakia Stadium with first pitch scheduled for 4. Former NFL star Aaron Hernandez was found hanged in his prison cell at the Souza Baranowski Correctional Center in Shirley, Massachusetts earlier Wednesday morning. He was pronounced dead at the hospital about an hour later. The death of the former New England Patriots tight end has been ruled a suicide. The family wants to donate his brain to science. According to his attorney, Jose Baez, the family has arranged for Boston University researchers to look for brain trauma following the autopsy. However, Massachusetts officials are refusing to release it. Hernandez was serving a life sentence for the murder of Odin Lloyd. He was 27. One more week until the NFL draft. 3 Spartans participated in the NFL Combine and could potentially be drafted this year. Malik McDowell, Riley Bola, and Monte Nicholson all tested at the workouts, and according to NFL scouts, McDowell has the potential. His size and athleticism is first round. However, scouts are concerned about his leadership and his work ethic. Well, that's all what's happening in sports this week. Kelly and Chloe, back to you.
Thank you, Amber. An Oscar-winning producer came to campus last night for a screening of her film, Inocente.
The film is a powerful story told from real-life events by the main character, Inocente. For 9 years, she was homeless, going from shelter to shelter, going from streets to school. She kept her homelessness to herself in fear that classmates would make fun of her. All this changed for her at the age of 15 when she pursued her dreams of becoming an artist. A large crowd came out to watch the film and stayed for a Q&A with Inocente herself, as well as executive producer Susan McLaury.
Inocente is the story of a 15-year-old homeless, undocumented girl who lives in San Diego, who happens to be an extraordinary artist, and whose art and its vibrancy and life really belies the realities of her everyday life, and it kind of proves that it's, you know, we're not defined by our past, but really by our dreams.
The film won an Oscar in 2013 for Best Documentary Short Subject.
That's all we have for tonight's show. I'm Chloe Keipel.
And I'm Kelly Cullen. Good night.